This is Teachable Moments with April podcast, and you guessed it, I'm your host, April. If you're a returning listener and a part of the Teachable Moments with April podcast family, welcome back. For those who are checking me out for the first time, well, hello and welcome. To everyone listening, be encouraged and look for the teachable moments that are all around us. Enjoy. With electricity, knowledge truly is power. Did you know electricity can jump straight through the air? It's true. And it's why you should never put metal objects like ladders near power lines. They don't have to touch a line to attract the electricity. Here's another one. Even if your phone's waterproof, the charger is not. Water and electricity never mix, so make sure to charge your devices in a safe and dry spot. Let's live safely together. OG&E Safety Digital. This episode contains pre-recorded content. Today's content is from NBCChicago.com. What's that noise? NASA aircraft to fly over Chicago area once again Wednesday, and this was published August 2nd, 2023. Known as the largest flying science laboratory in the world, the DC-8 aircraft is being used as part of a partnership between NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. A NASA aircraft that flew over parts of the Chicago area Tuesday will return to the region once again Wednesday, and officials are urging people to be prepared for the potential noises. NASA announced that its Armstrong Flight Research Center's DC-8 aircraft will fly over the Chicago area as a collaborative scientific research mission aiming to measure atmospheric emissions and reactions observed from megacities to marine areas. Now, the aircraft was expected to arrive in the region between the mid-morning and mid-afternoon hours, Monday or Tuesday, flying over both the city of Chicago and surrounding suburbs. It arrived just before noon Tuesday and traveled across parts of the city. But NASA announced Wednesday morning that another trip was planned for the mid-morning and mid-afternoon hours. NASA warned that residents will see and hear the aircraft as it collects data on air quality and pollution sources. Now, NASA officials emphasized that all flyovers are conducted at a safe altitude without harm to the public, the wildlife, or infrastructure. But the aircraft's jets are very loud, and those with sensitivity to loud noises should be aware of the flyover window. Known as the largest flying science laboratory in the world, the DC-8 aircraft is being used as part of this partnership that I spoke of earlier. And the article kind of tapers off with these last thoughts. As a large 4-engine passenger jet outfitted with scientific equipment, the DC-8 aircraft will be hard to miss. It conducts these flights. Flying at it. They keep reiterating that it's a safe altitude, over some of our most densely populated areas in North America. A release on the project states. For those looking to track where it is in the area, you can follow. So they give also you can follow along on Flight Aware using the tail number N817NA. Okay, guys, so I got curious, of course, and I clicked on flightaware.com and gave the number, the flight number, which is N817NA. It says en route landing in 41 minutes. And then they say operating as a National Aeronautics and Space Administration 817. And then on the side it says something about Dayton, Ohio. Okay. And how much time has lapsed and how many hours of total travel time as total, and then travel time remaining. Then it asks a very interesting question. Are you the operator of this aircraft? Okay. Interested in seeing what your aircraft is powered on and watching it taxi on a live, surface map. FlightAware Global is the ultimate aviation toolkit for aircraft owners and operators. And then there's a button to click that says Discover FlightAware Global. Now, it also says here that it actually gives this particular flight number, their schedule. And you can also view their track log. And then they actually have an actual map as I scroll down. Okay. And they even have something you can press to replay. And it's updated by the second, to the actual second. Okay, then on the right-hand side, it says aircraft details. It gives the tail number, which we just said, the owner, okay, which is NASA Neil A. Armstrong Flight Research Center. They say that McDonnell Douglas DC-8 quad jet. They have something that you can click to look at additional photos of this particular aircraft. You can also click something also underneath operator information. It says all flights, the speed in which it goes, the altitude, the distance, and then they have a lot of routes also. And then on the side it says to decode, which is interesting. I know nothing. I know nothing about airplanes, but I didn't even know this existed. It also says Wright-Patterson, which I believe, let me go back up. Is that in Ohio? I'm not sure. But it has something Wright-Patterson, departure and arrival. And it's for today's date, which is the 2nd. And then it also, it shows yesterday, which was Tuesday. And the duration that it was in the air was 8 hours and 11 minutes. That's very interesting. Then it also goes on to give some other past flights, which I think is interesting. It has Friday on here actually, and its departure was from Trenton Mercer, and it was almost 5 p.m. that day. And then it ended up at Wright-Patterson, which is allegedly where it was at, I'm guessing, for here, where I live. And that they arrived 6:18 to Wright-Patterson, and it was only 1 hour and 19 minutes. I'm seeing a lot of that. That might not, it's bringing up questions of what the Wright-Patterson means. What does that exactly mean? I'm going to click on, it says Dayton, Ohio. Very interesting, guys. I'm going to have to keep my eye on this. Now that I know that this exists, I may not understand everything that I'm looking at. It's definitely worth keeping all 4 of my eyes on, okay? The 2 that God gave me and the 2 that I bought for America's Best, okay? Now, on the local news, when I saw something today, they interviewed people in Humboldt Park, and they were giving their feedback on what they heard and what they saw. I personally didn't know about it, but they said something also very curious. They said all the data that they collect from, I guess, yesterday and today is going to take an entire year to process. So if there is anything maybe wrong or something that needs attention, does that mean that we're going to have to wait an entire year to find out? I'm just wondering. They didn't specify. Okay, I thought I was finished, guys, but I'm not. At the bottom, it says join Flight Aware. And then it also says if you want to purchase the entire flight history for this particular flight, which flew over Chicago, N817NA. Who's gonna buy it if it's right there when you just print it out? All right, wait. Actually, this is an app. Okay, it says FlightAware provides accurate real-time historical and predictive flight insights to all segments of the aviation industry, and it's on, obviously, Google Play, and for you other guys, the Apple App Store. You prepared them for their first steps, the first day, their first dance, and that big test. All the wins along the way. And with a College Savings Iowa 529 plan, you'll prepare them for even more. College Savings Iowa, prepare for what's next. Register between September 1st and 30th for a chance to win a $5,290 contribution in any account. Visit collegesavingsiowa.com today for details. All right, today's content is from nasa.gov, okay? And it was published July 27, 2023, and the title of this particular article is NASA-led mission to map air pollution in 3D over megacities. And this particular article was written by Emma Howells. Now they show a beautiful skyline of the Empire State Building. For this particular article, it said it spears a cloudy sky above Manhattan. NASA and collaborators are tracking the air we breathe in unprecedented detail in New York City and other major urban centers this summer. This summer, as wildfire smoke blankets large swathes of North America and heat-stoked summer haze reaches its seasonal peak, NASA and its partners are deploying several new tools to observe air quality and pollution from the street to the stratosphere. Now, launched into orbit earlier this spring was TMWA, short for tropospheric emissions monitoring of pollution, which is the first satellite instrument that will measure air quality over North America hourly during daylight hours, it says in parentheses, and at the resolution of a few square miles. Its field of view stretches from Mexico City to central Canada and from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. NASA's newest atmospheric chemistry instrument will soon begin transmitting data for scientific use. Now, meanwhile, some 22,000 miles below, a separate NASA mission will complement the new satellite measurements with air quality observations from the field. Now, it says the summer 2023 campaign includes a fleet of aircraft, laboratories on wheels, weather balloons, and hundreds of scientists who have mobilized to track pollution in unprecedented detail. That mission, Synergistic Tempo Air Quality Science, STAQS, is examining the air we breathe in several North American population centers: New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Toronto. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The Magnificent Four here. Okay. The goal is to map air pollutants from the ground to the upper troposphere. Track where they come from and how they change hour by hour, and identify neighborhoods disproportionately exposed to unhealthy air. I'm going to read it one more time. Track where they come from and how they change hour by hour by hour, and identify neighborhoods, excuse me guys, disproportionately exposed to unhealthy air. The air is unhealthy, but we're still going to track it hour by hour by hour by hour. Wow, I think a solution might be needed other than tracking it hour by hour by hour by hour. Okay, it's the combination of satellite, airborne, and ground data that will help answer the fundamental question. So somebody got a question. What are we breathing? But if we go back to what I just repeated several times, it says they're tracking it hour by hour by hour and identify the neighborhoods disproportionately exposed to unhealthy air. So the air is unhealthy. Yeah, it's unhealthy. So what are we asking? What are we breathing? Unhealthy air. I'll answer it for you. So Barry Leffer, head of this particular program underneath NASA headquarters in Washington, says we can map inequalities like never before. But if we already know it's unhealthy, and they've already talked about the Canadian wildfires, and they've said that there's at least over 200 chemicals, toxins, neurotoxins. Let me say chemicals again. Chemicals in the air. What exactly are we trying to figure out? Also in mainstream news, they said that you would have cardiovascular issues, you'll be compromised, heart attacks, strokes, of course, respiratory issues. They even said that whatever these chemicals are, over 200, can cause cancer. So what are you tracking hour by hour by hour by hour? Okay, so then it says one of the key pollutants, these illustrious people that are tracking hour by hour will monitor. One of them is nitrogen dioxide, okay, which is commonly emitted by tailpipes and smokestacks, and a key ingredient in ground level ozone or smog. The missions will also measure fine particulate matter, volatile organic compounds like formaldehyde and methane and carbon dioxide, which are potent greenhouse gases that trap heat in Earth's atmosphere. Goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Those heat waves. So much heat that people are dying from it. Yeah, they're tracking it though. Okay, so the team isn't operating alone. I didn't think so. It says the NOAA is leading another team and another campaign that's complementary to this, to study air pollution this summer, one of several government and university-led efforts with collaborators with more than over 20 universities and several regional consortiums, state and local governments, of course, plus all these other acronyms with all these collabos and everything, and NASA and other federal agencies, because everyone is so concerned with the safety of the public. That's right, and the data is going to take an entire year as we ingest over 200 toxic chemicals, because they care a lot. Okay, scientists are working together to build a coast-to-coast air quality community that's stronger than the sum of its parts. It's stronger. Okay, so then it goes on to say air quality is better, but not everywhere. You think? Okay. Improved air quality is one of the great success stories Is it? Of the past several decades, says Laura Judd, Associate Program Manager for Healthy and Air Quality Applications in NASA's Applied Sciences program. Regulations have led to significant reductions, have it? That's why we're ingesting over 200 chemicals daily in harmful nitrogen dioxide emissions, and have slashed sulfur dioxide, a driver of acid rain. So dramatically that the latter can be hard to detect using satellite instruments. Now, what I find interesting is that a lot of people, including myself, have noticed that when it rains, it looks like somebody put down some dishwashing liquid. And it's soapy and it's sudsing. And people are saying, when I looked it up, is that it's just the agents that they use when they pave streets. So in spite of all of this hardworking people, and they care a lot, and they're slashing the sulfur dioxide, the challenge is that poor air quality issues are becoming more localized. So if you're slashing it and it's almost non-existent, then you're saying that the challenge is that poor air quality issues are becoming more localized. So is it there or is it not there? Did you slash them, or is it still existing? Okay, so for example, in Chicago, great, a freight hub, this particular team will be monitoring ozone that pools along the Lake Michigan shoreline, as well as high levels of truck exhaust that impact neighborhoods surrounding large warehouses. Now, if we're looking, let me think about this for a second. So if it's about Canadian wildfires, let me think about this. You're monitoring truck exhaust that impact neighborhoods surrounding large warehouses. Okay, pinpointing such discrepancies is vital because when local air pollution levels exceed federal standards, the pollutants can aggravate lung diseases such as asthma, emphysema, and chronic bronchitis among people living and working in the area. So let me scroll back up to see what they were talking about with the people of the people. Let's see. Okay. Of the particular areas, the particular people living in the particular areas. Yes, that are exposed. Oh, here we are. Tracking it hour by hour and identifying neighborhoods disproportionately exposed to unhealthy air. And let me just guess what the areas, the neighborhoods that are black and brown neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what it is. So then this article goes on to say, well, actually in this case, ask, are local air pollutants concentrated around airports? Are they coming from idling vehicles near warehouses? I guess the focus on the warehouses, guys. Said Judd, who leads the airborne component of the A team over here. The people who make air quality decisions that impact communities need the most accurate and precise information possible. But they started doing this when the Canadian wildfires jumped off. To enable that level of precision, her team is deploying 2 research aircraft equipped with remote sensor sounds pretty highfalutin, including spectrometers that serve as a proxy for the new Tempo instrument in space. In space, you say. Tempo on a plane will be mounted on a Gulfstream V aircraft provided by NASA's Johnson Space Center. It will be flown over the target cities. Oh, here we go. To map pollutants, because it's pollutants that we're looking for. Are we now? Are we really? Up to 3 times per day. Did I get loud? The goal is to better understand, because we're not understanding. That's what this is all about. We are just not understanding. But this is not cheap. You got resources, you got people, time, invested, but we're unsure. And we're trying to find out the answers because guess what? We don't know. But we did all this because we didn't know. Okay. The goal is to better understand how factors such as traffic patterns and weather influence and air quality at different times of the day. It will also help scientists evaluate the early data coming in from the real thing in orbit above Mother Earth. It's critical to understand how air quality changes hour by hour and mile by mile because every community has a unique story to tell. You got that right, sister, said John Sullivan, who leads the ground-based operations for the A-team over there and the studies in the atmospheric chemistry from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. While aircraft fly overhead, ground support teams will use this crucial research trailers equipped with state-of-the-art sensors. See what I'm saying? Because if it was just the warehouses and the exhausts coming from the trucks and stuff like that, where is this coming from? And you just said that it had to do with the Canadian wildfires. Okay, together we can get a 3D perspective of air pollution moving and mixing in different layers of air, said Sullivan, which is a project scientist on this beautiful network, the Tropospheric Ozone LIDAR network, TOLNet, a high-powered network of lasers. Oh, here we go. They got the lasers, people. This ain't cheap. Lasers. You hear me? A network of lasers used to identify and locate, because we can't find them now. They're in the air now. They're making the sun and the moon look like blood, but we don't know. Identify and locate pollutants. For example, because they're hiding. Not really. During a deployment by STAX, I'm just going to call it STAX, STAQS, deployment to New York, the ground teams collaborated. There's that word again, to track a 1.5 mile, which is 2.4 kilometer high plume. Let me say it one more again. High plume of ozone. This buster is a high plume of ozone, but we're trying to figure it out because we don't really know. Is that normal to have a big old high plume like that where everybody can see what they realize? They don't need no lasers. They don't need no sensors. Oh my God, help me, Lord Jesus. Moving downwind across the Long Island Sound and the Connecticut shoreline within an 8-hour period, hour after hour. Remote sensing instruments like TollNet and get this, guys, Pandora, a global network of sky scanning spectrometers that measure many of the same trace gases as the other acronym TEMPO, will operate regularly during the STAX campaign, providing observational anchor points for the mission. The mission, what's the mission, people? What is really the mission? What is it really? It's a mission upon a mission. Moreover, many of the STAX instruments will be operated in areas where there is existing trace gas analyzing equipment managed by national and local air quality agencies. The combination of measurement efforts and tools will allow these beautiful scientists to compare and augment all of the observations as we choke, as we fall out from the toxins that have been released into the air. I'm so glad they're getting their data. I'm so glad for, wow, God bless them. At the end of the day, the super users like superheroes of STAX findings and TEMPO data will be the state and local air quality agencies who are fundamentally trying, oh my God, they're trying to address these questions about the public health. So these are the questions. They are just Bless their hearts, as someone I know often says, bless their hearts. They are trying to address these questions about public health, but they've already told us that these toxins and these chemicals and these neurotoxins is in the air, and it's getting people, and it's causing cancer, and it's making their heart stop, and people fall out. Okay, but they're trying to find out their answers to the questions and address them. And chemical transport of air pollutants, because it's the warehouses and the truck exhaust that's coming. Is it? Is it anyone? Does anyone know? Okay. It says, we want to provide data to them that can help answer these questions. By Sally Younger, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. And if anybody wants to reach out to Miss Sally Younger, it's sally.m.younger@jpl.nasa.gov. You were just listening to Teachable Moments with April podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode. We invite you to stay connected with us on the other social media platforms of ours, which is TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Also, we'd like to invite you to check out our official podcast landing page on podpage.com/teachable moments with April to see all our content in one place and leave personal messages, feedback, and more.